Good morning, everyone. Jack's having technical issues. He'll join us when he can. Can everyone hear me? Let's make sure that I'm not having any technical issues. I couldn't hear the morning music intro. Got a full show for you today. Lots lined up, lots of fact checking to do. And let's do some shameless promos. Who have I got in the chat? Say good morning, everybody. I see some people viewing. And let me throw this up on the screen. Very excited to have Laura Cunningham joining tomorrow. We're going to do some debunking of the Piacines Ranch down in the Monterey, Salinas area and their website. And tomorrow we're going to keep it scientific. We're going to talk about everything that they scientifically claimed that wasn't true. Good morning. Good morning, Lynn. How's the audio? Can you hear everything okay? Now, because we're going to stick to science tomorrow, I'm going to throw a couple of these up today on the shows that I do with Jack. We tend to let our vegan sides show. So here's a short visit to the ranch website. Aw, isn't that cute? And let's follow that up with this one. Frolicking on the ground with the animals while text is on the screen lying about regenerative agriculture. And some of these things I don't even have to exaggerate about. Very next graphic is that animal he was frolicking with being cooked. And look, I understand I've eaten meat the bulk of my life, but I got to tell you, there's a disturbing disconnect when people frolic on the ground and smile holding up babies that were taken from their mothers, acting like they're sharing a special bond or relationship with these creatures, when the entire purpose of the existence of those animals is to be killed. You know, it's not like they get accidentally killed at some point. The only reason they're alive is to make these people money via their death. Now, part of that expense comes with feeding those animals the earth, and these people apparently have rights to use the earth for their commodity creation. And good morning, Leah. I'm going to get to promoting your upcoming event in just a second. I've got one more graphic on the vegan side of this argument before we move on to today's topics. I'll put this one up. Jack sent this one to me this morning. This is pretty funny. In today's reality deprived world, I don't find this surprising. In fact, I would have guessed at this point that we would have more than 7% of people actually believing that chocolate milk comes from brown cows. I mean, how many people do we still have who believe that milk cows exist to produce milk and beef cows exist to produce beef? And here's the final graphic I want to share before we get into my God, is it distasteful for me to say to get into the meat of the show? Here's the final graphic as the animals that the rancher was frolicking with gets converted into this. And that's an 8-ounce piece of meat that you can buy for $30. After the ranchers use up natural resources creating their commodities, you can then buy an 8 ounce piece of meat for $30. And, they are supposedly providing local food for people, and that's why you should support them. And they're making the planet healthy, which um, is all BS. And I am going to start doing something called truth trips, and I'm going to shamelessly promo myself. Uh, these are nonprofit donations, and I have all these ideas about going and fact checking in real time. Just go to the location that was promoted and take images of it and show the reality. But of course, that takes time and money. Not only does it take money, if I'm off doing that, I'm not doing anything else that would possibly allow me to earn a paycheck. So I'm just past the point of not begging. I am hoping for anyone who is into any of these campaigns to go and give a tax deductible donation. I usually sleep in my vehicle, so it's not an expensive trip. I just want to cover the basics. I'm going to do Point Reyes, and then I'll head down to this ranch next if, in fact, this proves to be successful. The next shameless plug is tomorrow's show, in which Laura and I get into the scientific part, debunking the claims on this ranch's website, and the link is right there. That'll be right here on YouTube again. And finally, I want to get to Leah's event, and there's the banner text at the bottom. Leah's going to be speaking at this, and I also have a graphic to throw up for Leah. Climate justice, veganism, and bold change with Dr. Salish Rao. I'm not even sure if I say it correctly. Leah, if you want to, I'm here in the front row. Good to have you here, Ray. Leah, since Jack is apparently not going to be able to fix his issues, if you want to come in and say a few words about this, I know you're at work, but you're welcome to do a shameless plug for a minute here before I get to the bulk of today's show. And the bulk of today's show is going to be, once again, looking at a film called Leaving the Point. And we keep saying we're going to get to this part. This is the part. It's unfortunate for Jack not to be here because this is the part that he particularly wanted to uh, dissect, and we were working our way up to it slowly over time. And he is not here with us, unfortunately. And who commented? Driving, but thanks. Anyway, this Friday, the link that I put up there for Leah's event is the registration that you can watch this. Go and register for their Zoom webinar. And Jack was also going to do a reading this morning. Ray Cooper, I might have you come in and be the new co-host. Hey, Corinne, how you doing? Your buddy Jack is having technical issues, so he's not here with us. So I was telling Jack that I went back to the LA Times YouTube channel, and this film that had gotten no views has picked up some views. And it is unfortunately really appealing to people that were already going to be angry about it if you tell them the correct lies. In this film, we've already done 3 parts on this because there's so many lies. Hello, Jack.
Hi, Skylar. Sorry about that. Computer trouble big time here. Sorry.
It's not working.
Not
What's wrong?
yet. No.
Try again.
I'm just joining on my phone. What's the issue? I'm sorry.
One more time.
One more time. What?
No, can't hear you, Jack. Good morning, Chris Cedar. Hey, Jack, one more time.
I'm here, but you're not hearing
There
me.
you are. I can hear you.
Okay. Sorry.
No worries.
Well,
All right.
I
Well, I
don't
did.
want operating
I
difficulties.
did.
We even started early to get this going, but computer fails are unpredictable.
Hmm. So, I did my shameless plugs. Do you want to do the reading that you were looking forward to doing?
Yeah, I need a moment to calm down from my frustration of 15 minutes of or 20 minutes of computer void. So you were into the film already, or you're about to begin that whole bit?
I was about to begin it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I wanted to. Good morning, everyone. Sorry for delays. Um, there's a new book out um, called the. Oh, you know what? I want to bring on someone who actually wanted to do the reading. Just a little bit of a sample, and there's a reading coming up this Saturday. But let me. This won't take 10 minutes. This will take 10 seconds. I want to
Okay.
get. There's a buddy of mine. His name is Jackie Tofu. Just hang on one sec.
I don't know what this is. If anyone thinks this is planned.
Hi.
Okay.
I'm Jackie Tofu, and I wanted to, if it's okay with you, Skylar, I wanted to do a vegan storytelling section. So I have this wonderful book, The Omnivore's Deception.
Hmm.
And the subtitle there, which is going to be backwards, I guess, says, What We Get Wrong About Meat, Animals, and Ourselves. And it's written by John Sanbonmatsu. Can you say that, boys and girls? John Sanbonmatsu. And to remember that, it's San, like Sanford and Son, Bon, like it's French for good, and Matt, like Matt Decker, who was on the crew of the Enterprise with Captain Kirk, as you all know, and Sue, SU. It's what ranchers do when you call out their lies. John Sanbonmatsu. So anyway, The Omnivore's Deception is a wonderful new book, and the author is coming from the East Coast, flying across the country in an airplane. This Saturday, he will be. Can you see this hat? This is a wonderful hat, by the way, that Jackie Tofu has with mushrooms on top because mushrooms are vegan. I am vegan also. So without further ado, here we go. So I just want to give you a sample of this wonderful book, The Omnivore's Deception, which puts holes in Michael Pollan's wonderful, popular piece of book called The Omnivore's Dilemma, because there's really no dilemma at all. And just again, from the introduction here, now I'm reading the author. Many people profess to love animals, and many genuinely do. An estimated 2/3 of American households keep at least one non human companion, a fact that speaks to our desire to feel emotionally and connected to other beings. But our love for animals is only partial. Americans keep about 150 million cats, dogs, birds, and horses as companions. Yet each year they kill and consume hundreds of times as many chickens, pigs, goats, cows, sheep, turkeys, fishes, and others. While we spend nearly $75 billion each year feeding, entertaining, and providing medical care for our companions, we spend at least twice as much. Do you know how much twice $75 billion is, boys and girls? It's 150 friggin' billion dollars to inflict violent trauma on billions of other animals. We thus love animals one moment, slaughter them the next, and fail to notice any discrepancy between the two modes of address. And that's not the kind you wear. The same newspaper prints a heartwarming story about an animal rescuer or vegan chef on one page, and then on the next, a story about a cattle rancher or celebrity butcher the next. Do you know what a butcher is, Skylar?
A patriot.
Yes, it's a patriot, someone who loves animals so much he butchers them humanely and then eats them. So this is where I could, well, just let me do one little bit more and then we can stop.
Do it in your regular voice. The child voices, we get it. Just
No, I just can't. Well, that's no Jackie Tofu then. That would be Jackie G. So, oops, actually, Jackie G needs reading glasses too, boys and girls. At the local hardware store, the bird feeders and bird seed are down the same aisle as the mouse traps and rat poison, which are just down from the cat toys and the dog chews. So, Roberto, some guy, or more like, James, is a meat eater. His wife, Michelle's a vegan. Paula likes volunteering at her local shelter. Her animal likes shooting deer, then cutting off their heads and mounting them in his den. And often the same person exhibits opposite attitudes towards animal at the same time. Like the hunter, who grieves the loss of his dog from cancer, or the bird lover, this is something you and I have talked about, who donates to Audubon or is a member of Audubon, yet who dines the bodies of chickens, turkeys, and ducks. So this book goes on. This is just the introduction. It's really wonderful. And John Sambamatsu, PhD out of Polytechnic Institute in Worcester, I think it is. I know he's in the Boston area, is flying out here this Saturday. So at Book Passage Bookstore in Corte Madera, California, Marin County, I will be there. A bunch of other activists will be there for a book reading and to meet the guy. He's really a hard-hitting activist. You'd like him. And if it goes well, I'll probably invite him on, if that's okay with you, Skylar. So anyway, Omnivores
sure.
This Saturday, 1 p.m., Corte Madera Book Passage. It's on my Tree Spirit Project events page. And thanks.
Corte Madera. All right, it's not too far north of San Francisco, right?
It's just north of Mill Valley. It's the next town up from Mill Valley, and it's right next to the two giant malls. It's in that area. It's within a quarter mile of the two, the town center and the village mall. It's actually near the DMV, but most people who don't live here don't know where that is. But Book Passage, if you just Google Book Passage Marin County, let alone if you can remember the name Corte Madera, it'll get you there. It's not a big deal.
Wow. The book event in Marin will be broadcast on C-SPAN too, apparently.
Really?
That's what Leah says. And well, Leah's thing is being broadcast also, her Zoom thing.
C-SPAN. Wow. I know there's a local Marin broadcaster. I didn't know C-SPAN covers stuff here. That's awesome, Leah. Thank you. Cool.
Well, I did this already, but I said that this was the part of what I'm going to do tomorrow that would apply to you. And so I'm not going to have Laura sit through it. Okay. But this is the ranch that Laura and I are going to debunk tomorrow. And here's the vegan side of the argument. It's, the psycho behavior of people. Jesus. And Jack's gone again. All right. You want to just use your phone, Jack?
You got me?
Use your phone. Sorry, everyone. All right, let's get to the meat of the show.
When the National Seashore was established in the early 1960s, it was a great experiment that contemplated the continuation of agricultural use in Point Reyes.
Now, I went backwards a little bit. Today we're going to talk about Andrew Giacomini, but did everyone catch how clever Lunny's line was right there? Because if you don't know better, according to Kevin Lunny, this was nothing more than an experiment by the United States government with full intent of seeing what it was like to incorporate ranching with a national park. Let me play that again.
1960s, it was a great experiment that contemplated the continuation of agricultural use in Point Reyes.
Okay, so I've been putting out a series called Ranchers versus Reality, and also another series just debunking this film. Most of you who follow me are aware of the administrative history of Point Reyes, in which all of the lies that you hear in this film leaving the point, which I'm sure was funded by these ranchers with some of the millions of dollars that they're being given to leave for the second time, crying as they're leaving, sowing seeds of dissent in the local community, making sure that everybody still there is pissed off about what happened. There was no intent to keep ranching there. The only reason ranching ended up in there is because of the dragging of the feet of the ranchers, making it impossible to complete the purchase without just a bullying, which the government could have done and has done in the past, but they chose not to. They were like, no, we want buy-in from these people. So they got the equivalent of today $350 million and 25-year leases in order to transition out. Instead, they used that money to increase their political power and not ever leave. We're still dealing with the problem today. Administrative history gives very specific examples that ranching was never an intention of the seashore. So the very first lines out of Kevin Lundy's mouth are in fact lies. Next week, I plan on going through the comments under the LA Times website that shows how much dissent this film, by telling lies, has managed to drum up. Now we'll get to Andrew Giacomini.
For a workforce?
12 ranches will be departing within the next 15 months, have been planned.
Mi esposo solo
Can be an environmentalist.
viviendo dentro de los ranchos. ¿Qué vamos a hacer?
For those of you who haven't watched any of the past episodes, what I just skipped past was the town hall meeting to address this agreement that was made, and everybody complaining about how terrible it was, including the people that are staying because they aren't forced out. Yes, Corinne, the equivalent of 350 million of today's dollars. More, it's more now. But back when I was making the Shame of Point Reyes, that's what it figured to. So no wonder they were able to buy ranches outside of the seashore and hire lobbyists. And once again, this town hall meeting glorified or made a big deal about the hardships of these ranchers and that they don't get to die where they always wanted to die. Boo-hoo. And that for the first time in history of ranch hands losing their jobs, they've decided that now, today, that's a pity and something that's sad, only because a national park that is subsidizing the private profits of ranchers who aren't even supposed to be there are finally leaving. Some of them in a deal that they negotiated and willingly took part in.
There is this question about whether you can be an environmentalist who also cares about people and communities. And the answer is, of course, you can be. In this case, the environmentalists believed that there was an out-of-balance situation in the parks. The impact on the environment was more than it should be. Okay, well, what can we do to pull that back? And the outcome was ranching would continue, but certain improvements needed to be made.
Okay, so I think we touched on this a little bit, but for those of you who don't know who this is, he comes from the Giacomini family, who have massive land holdings in Marin, Sonoma, and he ended up becoming a lawyer. So he comes from ranching background. He is saying that environmentalists had a problem with ranches. The environmental impact statement commissioned by the Park Service, once they were forced to finally do it again, showed overwhelming evidence of the damage being caused by these ranches. This isn't crazy hippies who have no idea what they're talking about being unfair. The land management in Point Reyes National Seashore is the worst that the ecologists that went out there and looked at it have seen in all of their years of surveying ranches and figuring out who the worst violators were. These are ranches who receive by default water waste waivers, pollution waivers, because it comes with an understanding of how damaging dairies are. They don't even have to, forget it. Whatever you do, it's fine. Here's your waiver. This is what they're claiming was acceptable. And he's saying that these unreasonable people came in and said, wait a minute, why are we paying for the private profits of these ranchers inside of the seashore who have massive land holdings outside of the seashore when this is what most of California already has, and you won't even give up the seashore, which makes it that much more frustrating that people act like when these ranches shut down, it's a tragedy. Ranches have been selling out. Well, the dairy industry was already over at the time that the heyday of the dairy industry was already ending at the time that the national government stepped in because that area was going to be developed. The national government protected this from being developed. They had to compromise by letting the ranchers stay. But let's not get it confused. The ranchers were already selling out to developers. They aren't the heroes in this story.
That was the balance struck. But the environmentalists were like, it's not enough. We want it all.
It'd be interesting if he would call out who those environmentalists are. I mean, he might as well be an anchor on Fox News, the way he's spitting things out. And why aren't there any consequences for an attorney literally lying? And there was no compromise. There was no compromise. The preferred plan that the Park Service went with gave the ranchers everything that they wanted. They did not go meet environmentalists or those who were suing the park to do their jobs. And I said that correctly. They simply sued the park to finally do their jobs. This sign right here, it's too bad we lost Jack because he helped campaign this. What does Andrew Giacomini have to say about this? The worst water quality results in Marin County coming out of a national park. I wonder if that has anything to do with the pollution waivers that are granted to dairies operating inside of the park.
So that sense of balance is thrown aside. It's all.
What sense of balance? I mean, is it too much to ask for the film to show what the agreement was that these environmentalists supposedly just took a crap on and said, no, it's our way only? Again, for those of you who don't know, the ranchers were demanding to get rid of the elk by lethal means or any other means, to let them expand their businesses into other forms of agriculture. Forget all the claims about how important the traditional dairy life is to them. No, they wanted to have chickens and pigs and sheep and row crops and more silage fields. And they wanted to be able to board horses and have Airbnbs and local markets. Let's give Jack another try. Sound check, Jack.
I'm here.
All right.
Thank you. Back in. That was me banging in the yellow hazmat suit, banging in that sign. And just to
I
recap,
know.
you're carrying on in my disappearance, my absence, but it's just to sum it up in another way with a different voice. You're going into the detail as you should, but it's just one of the many big lies of the industry overall, which is massive pollution, which has been going on in the park for 150 years, folks. Not just the environmentalists. The park knows about it. They know about it. Andy Giacomini of the Rancher family knows about it and lies about it, folks. It's like the Trump administration just lying outright about stuff. You just lie, keep at it, and people begin to believe it. So I appreciate your detail, but the big picture is it's a massive polluter in the park called the ranch industry, beef and dairy.
But Jack, poop is natural.
Well, in small quantities, you could argue it is, sure. And then they also make the other big lie is that cows are like bison, you know. Oh, and the other big lie is that they're hardworking ranchers versus heavily subsidized. I mean, it's more of the same poor people, which is the taxpayers subsidizing wealthy people. That's going on there. That's why I'm involved in the point raise issue, because it's emblematic, typical of the much larger issues at stake in the country.
Corinne says, I haven't heard the ranchers use the argument that agriculture keeps the land from going into sprawl and development. Well, that was the early days. That was the early days when the rebels with a cause thing really glorified and overlooked the fact that ranches were already selling out. And as cherished historically as the dairy industry of Marin County is, supposedly, it was already on its way out. And its heyday passed in the 30s. And there was the timber industries were there. I've shown in my debunking videos how the Drakes Bay estates were already being mapped out and planned. I mean, it's a lie told 1,000 times becomes truth. Is that what it is? A lie told once is a lie, but a lie told 1,000 times becomes the truth.
Yep.
And I don't think you were on when I was saying this. I want to go and dedicate an entire show to the damage that these people are causing by telling these lies. You brought up the Trump administration before I did, and I'm going to use it as an excuse to go on it because I was just looking at something that someone I know shared, talking about how Trump has brought free tuition for illegal immigrants to an end, and the whole list of people saying, this is what I voted for. Good job, Donald Trump. And I'm like, this doesn't exist.
Yeah, well,
that doesn't exist.
You and I have kind of tacit agreement to not necessarily go into politics all the time in every show, but at a certain point, it's like, this is actually dismantling our democratic institutions. You can't be silent. You got to kind of pick a side. I used to argue my friends against that, but now it's like, you got to speak up this stuff, because the ranchers are not quite as good as Trump, but they're pushing the boundaries on the superpower of just telling 100% blatant lies. The commie Democrats want to give health care to illegal immigrants. Total lie. And even repeating that lie is dangerous. You have to keep it short because people just grab the soundbite of the lie and think it's true. They hear it again and again and again. So, yeah.
Well, and here you have Giacomini, who is an attorney. And one would hope if anyone knows that they're telling a lie, it would be someone who studied the law.
So
and
Corinne's point, the old lie was they stopped development. The new lie is we need cows on the ground to stop fire danger. Right? That's the new lie, which is these invasive.
It's one of them.
Brought in by one. Thank you. There's more than one, but that's the new one.
You want to hear the rest?
Get ready for it. You don't need cows to keep down fire danger. Cows actually in effect spread fire danger by bringing in grasses that are annuals that dry out and burn in the.
Well, you want to talk about a complicated one. That's one that you'll get lost in arguments on with people. But here are some other ones that they were telling here. And this is not a small detail, people. This is in the film. This is in my film, that is. This is in an administrative history of Point Reyes, that they actually sent a delegation to Washington to oppose the park. And were saying, hey, you know, why should we do anything good for the greater cause? Literally saying things like this, saying that cows wouldn't be able to produce milk if cars were driving through there, saying that the economy of Marin would collapse entirely, that the dairy industry would collapse entirely. Remember, this is in the late 50s, and here we are today. and they're saying the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have all those years that have gone by, those decades that have gone by, in which anyone who wants to look at the truth could see, well, none of that came true.
Well, that's the maggot slogan, right? Make America greatly polluted again.
And I'm trying right now to show. I mean, some of you looked at my local foods video, and I go into the stores, and I'm like, this isn't even coming out of Point Reyes National Seashore. What are you talking about feeding the local people? Like, I don't know where they're sending their food, but secondly, even if some of it was going to the local town, if you can't figure out how to eat just because a national park finally becomes a national park, then you've got some other problems to deal with.
You know, I was just reading again in the Omnivore's Deception book, that whole locavore argument, which is eat locally. Well, you know, eating locally is great, all things being equal, but all things aren't equal. It's far less damaging to the environment to eat lettuce from Mexico than it is a steak from Iran. More damage by eating the local food that's produced with a huge amount of resources, which is meat and dairy especially.
Well, the Piscenes Ranch thing that I wanted to show you, and we lost you again. I'll just summarize it instead of showing it. They show the people playing with the baby goats that they're intending to kill, giving the formula to the baby goats that were taken from their mothers, and then literally the next graphic is a guy cooking. And then then I went to their store, and guess what? You can buy an 8-ounce piece of meat for.
I don't.
$28. That's before tax. That's raw. That's not cooked. That's not served to you in a fancy restaurant. That is $28 for an 8-ounce piece of meat. And I've been eating something called nutso, which instead of being just peanut butter, which is very high in protein, it's a combination of different types of nuts turned into a spread. That 12-ounce jar that lasts a very long time and is very filling, 12-ounce jar, is, what was it, $7? You got an 8-ounce piece of meat for $28 before taxes, unprepared, not ready for you to even consume. Who are the locals? Because they went off on providing to the locals also on their website. All the locals there are rich, or what? It's a very, very wealthy place if everyone there's consuming $28 pieces of meat as their local food consumption.
Riddled with nonsense. I mean, even I remember being in New York and I would see, Cowgirl Creamery and Zabar's on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. So, well, wait a sec. Capitalists, they're allowed to sell over there and they're going to sell across the country, but so much, making local food, they're shipping the country. What you're going to do? You're going to make a buck. It's just utter nonsense, inside and out. But mainly the incredible amount of food, vegetable food, plant food, and water inputs, and land use, and pollution. I just keep going at beef and dairy, the biggest ones, not to mention arguably the cruelest.
Can you show your shirt to Corinne really quick? Oh yeah, we've seen that one. That's a favorite. I love that.
And it's not all. What is it? I can't read it because I'm outside of my screen scope there. But it says, "Dear animals, all humans are not the same." And it's just a lovely. This is an artist. I'll read her name in a moment. I gotta get my reading glasses on to read this shit so close to me. But it's a woman hiding a deer and a fox in a hide away from the hunter. It's an artwork I found online. Let me credit the artist too, which I always want to do. And that is Katerina. I can't even read the last name. Anyway, beautiful shirt.
Right. We are not going to circle back to this film again, so we are going to get through Giacomini today.
It's all been done behind closed doors under confidentiality agreements.
Okay, Jesus. He was one of the first ones to break the confidentiality agreement, by the way. Is that a small detail, people?
Well, and as was Albert Strauss, right? He was blabbing his mouth all over, trying to enlist help, into the confidential, intruding into it, sticking his face in his mouth.
What do people now that I've seen the comments on the channel that successfully pissed people off? you got to imagine what they're thinking when he says a line like "all done behind closed doors."
As an attorney, he's an attorney too. You know what? Where he does all his investigation behind closed doors, not on the public loudspeaker. Oh God!
Guess who? Guess who was behind those closed doors, people? The ranchers. The ranchers and TNC.
Right. Well, even still, Rick,
Jack and I weren't there. It was the fucking ranchers negotiating for their millions of dollars while not considering the ranch workers that got ousted once. The ranchers never spoke up and said, "Oh, make sure that these people are taken care of."
but now
And yet we have to never-endingly hear suddenly, for the first time ever in ranches shutting down, about how terrible it is for ranch workers to lose their jobs.
human pity shields.
Pity shields, they're being exploited again, as you've pointed out.
Yep. Yep. One more exploitation of the ranch worker. Why not? We're already paying them crap, giving them no benefits, no vacation, no severance pay. Oh, the poor, poor ranch worker that we are exploiting. We, the ranch owner.
Should we just call him Giuliani?
Let's finish the film.
Giacomini? Let's call
Maybe.
By keeping it secret, the National Park Service were able to keep people like me on the sidelines for long enough to get it done.
Yep. That's true.
And so I just decided, not happily, that I couldn't save agriculture in the park.
Go ahead.
Agriculture. He means cows. Agriculture, my eye. God, he is look at this. Oh, I shouldn't pick on the size of the guy. It's not fair, right? It's irrelevant. You can have obese vegans, morbidly obese vegans, right? It's just
pretty rare. It's at least rare.
Sorry, guys. I heard an anti-Chuck Schumer rant this morning, so I'm kind of in a fighting mood. Like, enough of this pussyfooting around. We're just going to get trounced if we don't speak up angrily against these huge lies the dairy and beef industry tells, and the chicken and fish industries as well.
Oh, it's over with. It's over with. I mean, one of Trump's excuses for the new ballroom is that it wasn't equipped to serve steaks. What does that even mean? You couldn't bring steaks from the regular White House kitchen over to one of the justifications.
Back to Giacomini.
This is who he appeals to.
Back to the film.
The goal that I have is to
He got down the stairs about as well as Trump.
Preserve the housing. If this is now going to happen, and if people can retain a place to live in West Marin, that's important because there's not enough housing in West Marin right now.
For anyone.
Wow.
For anyone, dummy. Wow. I'll read. Go ahead. You read Phoenix's quote.
One might imagine that Gary. Oh, they mean Andy Giacomini, I assume. Gary's the father. That Andy Giacomini, being an attorney, would have known every single broken contract, every lie. Oh, I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does.
Well, I'll put out a challenge to the viewers. If anyone can find ranch workers who sold their ranches voluntarily in the past across Marin County that Andrew Giacomini went on these campaigns to help. Now, I know he actually has done some work for the underprivileged, but specifically showing outrage that a ranch would shut down and not have housing and other alternatives available to those workers. But then hasn't Gary, you do mean Andrew, right, been a bit of a seagull hedging his bets in every direction? Jack's met him. I haven't.
Attacking from all fronts. Sure. That's what they do. In fact, as Skyler pointed out, they won the friggin' deal and they still whine and complain. They got millions of dollars a second time after the first.
They whined and complained for the entire 50 years after they won the first time.
Never. It's part of the brand. You just keep whining and whining and whining all the way to the bank. And while I'm sorry, what's the word? Raping? Is raping too strong a word? Raping cows, forcing them with sperm that you've jacked off from a bull?
I think if you put yourself in their position and imagine it being done to you, you probably would be like, nope, that's rape.
Yeah. In the position of the cow, not the rancher who's doing the raping, right?
Right.
I mean, the industry calls it. I mean, that was the thing when I'm relatively new to the whole vegan thing, a few years, but it's called a rape rack.
Yeah, you can drive through Point Reyes National Seashore and check out the rape racks. They're in view as you drive by.
a national park where we rape confined animals. The hardworking rape rancher.
But you have to eat, Jack. But you have to eat.
Gotta eat.
A $30 8-ounce piece of meat.
We are not very broad-minded about every stakeholder that should be consulted. And this is especially true, unfortunately, about the immigrant community.
I'm doubling down. I want, please, people, come, especially those of you who don't like what we're saying, please provide the evidence.
Please help the poor immigrant worker we're abusing. Please, they need your help, and which is in the form of giving us money. Guitar, it's a nice touch. I like the Spanish guitar. It's a nice touch. It makes me sad.
First time any of these Caucasians have ever said that before in their lives.
Yeah.
And they act like they've been standing behind it forever.
Buenos días a todos. Mi nombre es Rosa Rodríguez. Soy una inmigrante. Al cruzar la frontera, me enfrenté en un camino lleno de incertidumbre. Algunas no llegaron. Llegamos sin dinero, sin ropa. La vida fue pesada, fue difícil. Para mí no sabía si esta área era buena o no. Gracias a Dios y a las personas que están aquí, estamos aceptados. No por ser migrante, no puedes hacer las cosas. Y que
It's really brilliant filmmaking, I got to say. I mean, they're turning the plight of these folks, which is genuine, against environmentalists. And oh, God, it's very clever, very deviously clever.
It's actually, I know I bring this up every week, but I'm having a hard time wrapping around my head around the pity cries from people, the very same pity that this administration is going out of their way to arrest and get out of the country. And you don't have to be against immigrants or for immigrants to be a little bit blown away by the fact that the same administration that these people voted for, that you're looking at in that crowd, are sitting there pretending like they give a shit about the hardship of those same people.
If you're talking about the H word, hypocrisy, yeah, it's rife, of course. I mean, the people who vote, I'm sorry, back to Mr. Trump. You vote for the guy who's going to take away your healthcare benefits. It's, you know, I I sent you a graphic this morning. It's a survey of U.S. adults. Sounds 7% of U.S. adults believe that chocolate milk comes from brown cows.
I put that up while you were off.
Oh, you did? Okay. It's just like,
yeah.
It's like, oh my God, people. No wonder it are educated. Oh God. Immigration.
aportamos bastante.
Oh.
Y no nada más los adultos, sino también ya parte del...
Oh, what?
Kehoe Beach. No, I know exactly where that spot is. I mean, good for them to go. I mean, it's just, what does it have to do with anything? They're showing the lives of people and saying somehow the evil environmentalists are taking their life away or something. It's just so contorted and misleading and false and just, God, no shame in this stuff, Skylar.
De los hijos.
You and I are ruining at the beach.
I know, man. This reminds me of the shark propaganda. When people want to kill sharks, they got to make sure everyone knows all these people were trying to do was enjoy their vacation, with their families that they loved very much. And an evil shark just wanted to bring American families to an end, just kind of like the environmentalists wanted to bring.
Do you know the number, just a moment on sharks, because you're way more knowledgeable. Do you know roughly the number of shark fatalities, not attacks, but fatalities every year around the world from the millions of sharks in the ocean?
A bad year Globally, 10.
Wow. Think about that. The amount of fear around the globe, everywhere there are oceans. 10 people die every year versus, God, how many people die from, driving to the beach, or 1,000 other fatalities. But
Welcome to
wow.
my world.
Wow.
Welcome to my world.
For example, you repeat the lie, the sharks are dangerous, they're killing people everywhere, and people believe it.
Play some sad music, show families being families, and suddenly 10 fatalities is 10 a day in the minds of people watching.
Or 10 at my beach that I'm going to.
Right.
I mean, because they're like the Jaws. I mean, God, what the movie Jaws did, it scared the crap out of me. I didn't know the numbers of shark kills. Anyway, continue.
I just wonder what percentage of MAGAs, because I've seen how excited they are about taking away SNAP benefits, and they actually are applauding people not being able to eat. What percent of the people that applaud that sort of hardship are happy that these illegal, or at least undocumented people, are enjoying a day at the beach? Like, well, how do they deserve that sort of happiness?
Well, that's to the power of manipulation. You could make that narrative, put music to it, and then go along with that. It's emotion and over reason.
What's that say? In these vegan shoes.
Laugh out loud. Those dang shark-infested waters, when it's their home. Yeah, meaning it's the home of the sharks. We go into their home and complain that they are a danger to us when we go into their home called the ocean. Yeah.
It's actually amazing how easy it is to draw parallels, because no, it's not their home. It's something for us to commodify. It's either, whether we want to rape it and therefore we villainize sharks because sharks might want to eat fish. Well, no, those are our fish. Or the beach itself is a resort. Hey, that's where hotels and the town make money from tourists coming up. If anyone hears that there's sharks in the ocean, well, that's not acceptable. How about Point Reyes National Seashore? Well, it was never actually meant to be a preservation of the last bit of wild, genuine habitat and wildlife. It was always meant to be preservation of a certain type of people's way of life that you can find anywhere.
Yeah, you remind me. It's your remark that it's our ocean. Those are our fish. This is our land. We have all of it. That is really. I keep going back to this wonderful book, Omnivore's Deception, for the book reading this Saturday at 1:00 in Corte Madera. On again and again and again, the theme is we humans act as if it's all ours. We own it all, we control it all, we dominate it all, and we're supposed to, and it's right, and it's good, and it's normal, and it's necessary. That's the kind of the big evil on all of this stuff that humankind does to the planet.
Manifest destiny. God gave us dominion. Subdue the, or isn't it amazing how different an translation of the Bible can be, from being stewards of the land to subdue the land? The exact same passage from the Bible gets it that different. Let's read 2 comments. Meanwhile, how many sharks are deliberately killed by humans every year? Well, you said the word deliberately. The number that are caught in bycatch as part of the overall rape of the ocean is probably unfathomable, but 100. The finning industry alone was supposedly responsible for close to 100 million.
Whoa! Hang on. You say this stuff because you know it so well. The finning industry, F-I-N-N. Finning is you catch a shark to cut off its fin, and then that's all you want of the animal. You throw it back in the water dead with its fin off, right?
Well, if you're out at sea on a massive raping campaign and you're going to be out there a while, and a fin is worth more than the flesh, because people will buy flesh. They call it flake. Australians are big into eating shark, whether they know it or not. Sometimes it's marketed as white fish so that people don't know. But if economically speaking, if you want to stay out at sea and fill your ship up with what is going to bring in the most money, you dump the carcass at sea and bring an entire ship full of fins, which fetch a crazy dollar amount.
And 100 million sharks per year, roughly, killed every year.
Roughly. specific to the finning industry.
So terrified of sharks in the water, and then NC adds, "I'm terrified of the cattle-infested lands in Point."
Oh, and by the way, as harmless as cattle are, cattle do top sharks in terms of human-related fatalities. That's one of the funny ones, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're afraid of sharks. You're not afraid of cows. You're afraid of sharks. You're not afraid of cars. You know,
Wow.
it's just whatever you're afraid of.
Ahora sí se tiene que notar la comunidad, ¿no?
Are you going to say it or am I?
I can't read that. It type's too small on my phone.
Well, you don't have to read it to say what I'm going to say.
We need to be a community. I can't read the last word.
No, you know, I don't think we need donation.
It took me a while. What is Skylar zooming in on now? Oh, don't. I don't. These guys are, poor, uneducated victims compared to the ranch owners who I can pick on for being corpulent and knowing better. These folks, it's the obesity of poverty. Honestly, Skylar, I have a little bit more compassion for him, perhaps, in this moment than you do.
Yeah, you can blame lack of education if you want to, but it still requires an awful lot of calories to get that big. You're not going hungry.
Lack of education. I mean, my God, I'm here in Marin and people aren't educated about, beef and dairy being unhealthy foods, or certainly completely unnecessary foods. Educated people with masters and PhD friggin' degrees eating this crap because they're just willfully ignorant at that point,
Nuestros padres yo creo que nos han enseñado buenas cosas y yo creo que lo principal es ayudar a tener no nada más para ti sino para los demás y no ser egoísta.
Do you remember who this featured person is, Jack?
The woman that was just speaking on the couch, you mean?
Yeah.
I've seen her before in this film, but I don't know who she is now. Have you interviewed?
No. We talked about it previously because they were showing her as a house cleaner. So her side job was cleaning rich white people's houses because the ranches aren't paying the family enough. But let's ignore that. What's this kid eating? Can't tell.
I don't know. I'm guessing it's not an avocado sandwich. So Corinne writes, I'm reading Hitman for the Kindness Club. Hitman for the Kindness Club by Paul Watson of I'm learning all the ways we're killing the oceans. God, I don't know if I can handle that. It's just tough to read this stuff.
Yeah. We've got enough dark topics for today. I'll bite my tongue.
Mi única esperanza ahorita hasta el momento en que podamos conservar nuestros hogares o simplemente de que si hay algo mejor, algo que podamos estar seguros como familia.
I'm guessing people can't see this, the text.
Yeah, I can't. I'm struggling. There's something where we can be safe in a family. Safe as a...
My only hope is that we can keep our homes. Jesus Christ, dude! What if the rest of us use that excuse? It's everyone else's problem to make sure that I don't lose my home.
That's of all these issues that they're getting this free housing subsidized with the public, but then the ranchers lie about it and use it as an excuse to have their ranching business continue in a national park heavily subsidized with the public. I mean, what I just said is quite a nettle. That's hard to get across to people, and it's a difficult one difficult to understand, as you said before. It's very complicated.
God, they're going on and on and on. They really exploited these ranch workers. It's a huge percentage of this film.
Yeah.
And you know what? And Jack, do you remember what they started the film with? You remember who they exploited at the beginning?
I don't.
School kids.
Oh, right. It opens up with the white kids and kids learning together by a teacher who doesn't challenge any of the lies and repeats them herself because she's so educated.
To block evictions from the seashore. Andrew, bless his heart. Block evictions. Ladies and gentlemen, if housing is included with the business and the business goes under, it's not an eviction. It's just a natural process. Why on earth what if I was working in a department store and they decided to pay me less if I got to live upstairs in the storage unit?
Right.
And then let's say Macy's downtown and Macy's goes under, but Giacomini, come come to my rescue because I don't know what I have no hope.
Or you run to media and say, they're kicking me out of my home up in this
Exactly.
in the warehouse. Wow.
And I know sometimes in my mind, I pretend that people have watched my other videos. So I intentionally try not to be redundant. But since you haven't, most likely, remember that someone such as McClure pays $3,500 a month for 1,076 acres, including housing units that he gets to use to lower the price of or the wage rate for his employees. We're paying that. That's a criminally low lease for 1,076 acres plus housing. We, you, the taxpayers, are subsidizing the costs of ranching there in addition to the normal subsidies that ranchers get. And now we're supposed to feel bad that those millionaires who barely had to pay these ranchers anything during the tenure that they had working those ranches. It's all our fault. It's all anyone who pointed at this and said this is kind of messed up. We're the bad guys. Just continue through life with your eyes closed. Don't ever call out the wrong. Otherwise, Andrew Giacomini will come after you. Well, Jack says he has lost sound. Let's see. It's the wrong calories, says Corinne. I can see it easily. Once again, I am back on tomorrow with Laura Cunningham because we are now 6 minutes over. Be sure to check that out because we won't, those of you who don't like me and Jack talking about veganism, we're going to stick strictly to the lies being told by the website. I know, Jack. I don't know what to do. I'm wrapping it up. And don't forget Leah's event on Friday. We got the banner up right there. And those of you who support my work and want to see me get back into the field and document the truth, there is a link to go and give a tax deductible donation to a specific campaign. All right. Thanks, everybody. That's the way we're going to bring it to an end with more technical issues.